what's up guys? The #1 player in Clash Royale just won 9 games in a row with this deck, beating the best players in the game and surprised everyone. Having a Giant and a Sparky in the same deck is definitely devious, but this deck exceeds all expectations of toxicity. The Sparky and Giant from the front command a presence that the opponent has to deal with, and a lot of times they'll go for mini pekkas or elite Barbarians or any high damage card. All of your opponent's precious high damage cards will head directly into a sea of skeletons from the Skeleton King, distracting and dismantling their defense before they get any value. While the graveyard skeletons spawn in directly on tower to surprise opponents and put them in a situation that they're not prepared to defend. If they scramble to try to clean up the skeletons with bait cards, they'll get crushed by arrows. And afterwards, you'll have Hunter, Barbarians, Sparky, and Zappies that are pretty much impenetrable to break through, especially when you already have a huge advantage and you only have to pour resources into defending. This deck had a supercharged win streak of 9 games in a row against the top ranked players in the game for a reason. It's time to electrify our skeleton spam and assert dominance. Lots of love to everyone that's using creator code SirTag to make all the daily videos possible. If you don't have Skeleton King, use Dark Prince. Yo, we got a game against Anguish, and he's got a graveyard in his banner. I feel like he knows what's in store for him. Also, the arena's lit up in some graveyard-esque manner with purple flames. So I wonder, you know, does it boost our morale? Does it boost the skeleton's abilities? I mean, the deck is #1 in the world for a reason. It's got to be extremely good right now. We're going to go for Barbarians on top of the Miner, and he's going to poison immediately. Okay, so this is kind of what I expected to play against the majority of the meta. Almost everyone's running Miner Poison because it's one of the best decks in the game. All the pros are playing it, but there's one person at the top of the leaderboard crushing all the Miner Poison players with this deck. So the poison's out of cycle because he decided to drop it on top of my Barbarians. So because I'm running Giant Graveyard, of course we take advantage of that. Of course we go in for our spam. So we're going head first into Archers and then also Mighty Miner. So he has other ample answers to defend. So it's not like he just has a one trick, one sort of defense. No, this guy has got a lot for us. So we got to go in for a Hunter here so we can finish off the Mighty Miner. I do need to eat some damage. Unfortunately, there's no other option. The Hunter is going to be able to soak up the majority of the damage from the Archers as well, so not terrible. Not the best spot in the world, but, you know, that's kind of how Clash Royale works. You hope for the best, expect the worst, and take what's in the middle. So we go in for a Sparky in the back because, ooh, never mind. I'm going to go Skeleton King since I can soak up a lot of those souls from the goblins. Okay, so not bad because we also get the cannon out of him as well. So, hypothetically, right, if the cannon dies here and we go in for a Sparky and decide that you want to apply aggression with a Mighty Miner or Wall Breakers, you can't do that anymore. That is going to be a blasted Mighty Miner boy. Especially if you want to go other side, that's also fine for me because now we can go for Zappies. And then we can go and zap you with the Sparky and maybe a Giant as well if we're feeling really aggressive. The great thing about this is, as you guys can see, the cannon is essentially decomposed at this point. Not going to give our opponent that much versatility on defense. Probably going to go Goblin, so I'm going to be waiting for my arrows. As you guys saw, I waited for the last possible second. I wanted to hit the Archer, and I also wanted to hit the Goblins at the same time. I think the Sparky blasts his Archers, then it also maybe locks on a tower depending on what happens. Yeah, it does end up hitting the tower, so that's huge damage. Now we can Skeleton King in the back. So, Anguish, I think you are living up to your name, bro. You're definitely not in a good spot when this Sparky deck starts to hit the late game, and I have the Skeleton King to bait out your poison, and then you also have to poison on the Zappies, and then you also have to poison on the Graveyard. There's just so many things that you have to hit, man. It's kind of crazy to think about. Yo, let's get it. Beautiful arrows value for us. Obviously, it could be slightly better also hitting the Archers, but not bad. Not bad, my dudes. And then the swarm of skeletons distracting everything, so he has to go and drop a Miner. Oh, man. Does that just feel wrong? He loses the Archers, too. They could have finished off the Sparky, but they thought the Sparky would die, so then they start walking up into the Sparky shot. I don't know if you guys saw that, but my editor's going to do a replay, and you guys can appreciate the glitch where a range card thinks that something's going to get finished off, and it actually doesn't get finished off. And then, you know, Sparky gets an extra shot that it shouldn't. Feels fantastic when you're playing Sparky, not so much when you're playing against it. We're going to go for arrows here so we can prevent him from using the Mighty Miner to finish off our Giant. And then we're going to get colossal value with the Skeleton King in the back because all these units die. And then when they die, they feed my Skeleton King a lot. So we do enjoy. I'm going to go Barbarians here because we're going to be able to kill everything. And then remember, he doesn't have bomb towers, so it's not extremely scary comparatively. Then we're going to go in for Zappies if he decides to go in for a Mighty Miner like he should. And the Mighty Miner doesn't finish off the Giant fast enough, so he's got to go Poison now. But when the Poison runs out, then we click the Skeleton King ability. And then we become extra toxic out here. You guys know the deal. That's how we roll. Skeleton King and a Graveyard. Double Graveyard up in here. The spooky, spooky arena. I love it. A skeleton's on the side, the skeleton's on all angles, and his goblins simply can't live up to their expectations. So look at the damage we got. That's disastrous for my dude. He's going to have to go and MacGyver his way through. I don't think he's able to clap his way through Barbarians like that. It shouldn't be possible. I love it. And now all we have to do is make sure that the archers don't end up killing my zappies. And then we go in for a graveyard and we arrows on his goblins. And we walk away with a very dominant W. So GG and well played, man. Even if you kill my graveyard skeletons with your poison, you're still going to have to deal with the Skeleton King ability. You still have to deal with all of our aggressive spam at all sides. And heck, even if I don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter because I can just split up all my stuff. Like I'm splitting up Barbarians, I'm splitting up my Zappies, and then I'm able to passively and very safely cycle my arrows to pierce your tower and finish off the game. So Anguish, despite having minor poison, one of the best decks in the game, got completely countered by Graveyard Giant. Archers, poison, and goblins simply do not stop this deck. And if he thinks that Mighty Miner and Cannon is enough to crush the Giant, well, we've got Zappies to reset all of his expectations. Having the triple threat of the Skeleton King, Graveyard, and Sparky overwhelms even the best of decks. Yo, we got a game against Cosmic Rain. What's up, dude? It's time to put you in some cosmic pain. I'm going to go in for a Sparky if you ever drop anything in the back and get a huge positive elixir trade. But you're not cycling stuff. Okay, you're going to log. I guess I can go for a Sparky in the back right now because I am up 2 elixir. So, what are you going to do? If you cycle a Mega Minion in the back, that makes me pretty suspicious. You are likely not going to end up having a fast cycle deck because Mega Minion is not played in fast cycle decks ever. But I can't really think of a big beatdown deck with Electro Spirit unless it's Royale Giant. Yeah, I think I'm going to dial in and say Royale Giant right now. Is this guy going to be packing that? No, he's going to have Miner. Miner Mega Minion Mini P.E.K.K.A. Oh my gosh. One of the best benefits of our deck is how easily it destroys Mini P.E.K.K.A. If you use your Skeleton King, you can swarm your opponent's Elite Barbarians or Mini P.E.K.K.A.s, whatever units they drop to eviscerate your Giant or your Sparky. So the distractions, the built-in distractions of the Skeleton King are exquisite. Also, since he just uses Mini P.E.K.K.A., I want to go and apply aggression with the Graveyard at the river, especially since the Hunter can eviscerate any bait cards that he drops on the Giant. And wow, he's just going to sack his entire tower. And it's about to get even better for us because the Electro Spirit doesn't counter push. The Mega Minion is something that I can ignore. And if he spams too much elixir on the left-hand side and he's feeling really like, you know, like he needs to, he feels in a dire situation, the Barbs are going to completely clean up the Mini P.E.K.K.A. or whatever else he wants to drop. So yeah, he's going to go Mini P.E.K.K.A. on the other side. We should be able to pull that with Zappies. So notice my placement of the Zappies pretty far away so we can stagger them out. So notice how the Mini P.E.K.K.A. has to travel much further, even to the other side. That was extremely well played for us from that placement. If you guys do that, you don't even have to respond to a Mini P.E.K.K.A. that is literally coming at you with a Miner tanking for it and a Mega Minion. So we spent 4 elixir. He had a solid at least 10 elixir coming at me there, and we were able to completely shut it down. So genuinely, after that defense, we've got this game on lock. Our opponent's Giant Miner deck barely tickled our towers, while our Graveyard dug him a whole bunch of trouble. Yo, we got a game against the King. Why do you have Rocket in your banner? Do not do this to me right now. So if we're playing against a log bait Rocket player, one of the few people that are still left playing that deck, this could be an adventure. So he's going to give us a wow, and he's not really giving us any cards. So I'm going to go and split up my Zappies in the back and see what's up. Definitely want him to start spamming into my Zappies. He's not going to give me any elixir whatsoever. What is he doing? I think it's in my best interest to go in for a Giant here because he leaked a lot of elixir. And then I'm going to go in for a Graveyard because his Goblins are out of cycle. So if he doesn't have Goblins and he's running Log Bait. Ooh, he's not running Log Bait. Well, he's running a fast cycle deck without Goblins and cycle. So he's going to take a ton of damage. Typically, they're going to have to rely on Log and Goblins and Earthquake to finish off all of the Graveyard Skeletons that are accumulating on their tower. So, fortunately for us, we are able to afford the Skeleton King, and man is he thick, pushing the Valkyrie away from our tower and saying, not today. So, fortunately, we're in a really good spot. All things considered, we're currently up 1,000 damage on the left-hand side compared to how much damage he's done on our right-hand tower. And on top of that, if you think about it, we've got Barbarians for his Hog Rider, and he can't go in for a Hog Rider right now because he's going to go into the Barbs. Barbs say no. Say sayonara. Hog Rider doesn't even get a hit. He dropped a Valkyrie and a Hog Rider directly into Barbarians, and they're still full HP. Isn't that ridiculous? How are people not playing this card? Lots of people in the meta right now are running Miner Poison. Poison does not finish off Barbarians instantaneously, and Barbs stomp anything that your opponent spams. Super underrated card in my opinion, especially after the attack speed buff that they got recently. Man. Oh, he's going to have Lightning. That's still a pretty bad spell for me to play into, not going to lie. Thing is, I'm expecting him to go in for a Goblin Surround on top of this Sparky, and he's going to expect me to Graveyard. So what I'm going to do... Oh, you know what? I'm still going to do it. I was thinking that the Sparky would stay alive. Oh, it is alive! No way! Is it going to blast the Executioner? That would have been so cool. We forced out a log because he could not live with the fact that the Sparky was going to blast him to a different dimension. That's exquisite. So I'm going to go for a Hunter because it will pull back the Executioner and then make sure that the Executioner cannot target my Skeleton King too quickly. And if we go Barbs other side, you guys know the deal. It seals the deal. So with 38 seconds remaining, this guy lost. Despite having a Lightning for our Sparky, it simply wasn't enough. He got electrocuted. The great thing about this deck is it gives you guaranteed wins after you take tower because no one can break through Barbarians, Zappies, and Hunter and Sparky. It's actually impossible unless they have Graveyard or some direct damage that gets on your tower immediately, which most people aren't running because archers are extremely overpowered and completely counter Graveyard. So what I'm saying is Sparky is a safe choice to counter the majority of the meta. Yo, Ultraviolet. Dude, you're 700 in the world finish. I'm a little bit scared about you. Hopefully we can get some ultra valuable plays right now. Like maybe you can go and spam directly into us. Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted. Thanks for listening to me, man. I am going to go in for a Hunter here after the Ice Spirit connects so then it doesn't jump onto my tower and the Hunter at the same time. Wonder what we can do here. Archers and Goblin Drill. So another fast cycle player. Typically though, whenever you see Goblin Drill, they'll end up having Fireball or some type of spell that can blast back your units because they want to push things away off of the Goblin Drill, so then the Goblins can lock directly on your tower. So Fireball is usually the spell of choice here. He might be running something different, but I'm hoping to see Fireball here, so then we can get a lot of value with our Graveyard. So I'm going to go and blast his Mighty Miner onto the next game real quick, and I think the Skeleton King will die, but it's not that big of a deal. So do I go and support this? He doesn't have a great card cycle, right? He just dropped his Goblins and his Mighty Miner, so I think going in for a Giant would be a good play. Especially if I can arrows on everything. Oh my gosh. That was the motherload of value, baby. That is so good. Holy heck. He's going to have to go Goblins. I think he has to go Goblins. Dude, he's going to go for Mighty Miner, but he didn't have enough elixir for the Goblins. That's huge. Let's go. We're hunting him with the Hunter. And we are giving him our trump card. I think that the Sparky and Graveyard card combination, people are not ready. You guys just don't think it can be both in the same deck. So that's where the game starts to become really crazy for this man. He's going to cycle his archers incorrectly. We're going to Graveyard him, and we're going to send him to the Shadow Realm. So I'm super stoked for that. Also, he's probably going to go for a Fireball on the Barbarians, but because he doesn't know that we're going to drop them immediately, then we can go in for Zappies afterward as well. Oh, I was hoping he would Fireball on the Barbs. Then we could go for Zappies on the Mighty Miner, and then just instantly win the game. But he didn't really have the Mighty Miner as his play there, I guess. So we're going for a Graveyard, and he's going to have to go Goblins because his archers are out of cycle. So we're going to get ready for some Sublime Arrows. Nice. Always identify your opponent's card cycle so you never waste opportunities. Don't go in for Graveyards when your opponent can easily counter it. As you guys saw, we took a pretty nice sizable chunk of his tower there. So I'm going to go for Skeleton King as our best answer to the Skeleton spam that he's about to drop, because we're going to be able to convert all that into Skeletons for us. Nice. So it's my Skeleton spam now, sir. I'm going to go for Zappies here, and then I can go in for a Graveyard. With the Skeleton King, maybe we can go in for the Skeleton King in front, force out the Goblins, then go for arrows and hit everything. Wow, that worked out even better than I thought. We're just stacking up multiple Graveyards on Graveyards. And this is quite possibly the gravest situation possible for our dude. GG and well played. Even if you Fireball, I go in for the Hunter right after. I had that queued up. I had that next on deck. I'm like, bro, if you delete one thing, I've got much more from where that came from. And we beat a top 700 in the world player without any problems. Fast cycle decks get crushed by this deck. Usually they're prepared for Sparky or Graveyard, typically not both. And by the time they figure out what they're playing against, they're already in over their head with double the trouble. And after destroying Drill, we're top 9,800 in the world. Yo, this guy's got ebarbs in his banner. Okay, I'm ready. Bridge spam me, sir. Show me those real elite Barbarians right now. Not something that you're displaying as a banner. I want to see them in card form. So they won't be in form any longer. They'll just get bashed to bits. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. I can't go for a Sparky. He's not really giving me everything I want. I guess I can go and cycle Zappies, but then I wouldn't have Hunter in my cycle. Like, I wouldn't have Hunter in my hand. So I think I actually do have to go for Sparky. If he goes and spams on the other side, I can kite it directly into the Sparky using my Giant. But he is going to go in for a Phoenix. I hate that bird. Being all these resurrects in my face, and then I don't know what to place to finish it off. In some situations, it's just incounterable. You look at it and you're like, okay, I guess I can go a hunter here, but he could lightning. But he dropped a cannon and also a phoenix, so it's basically his entire elixir bank, so I didn't know if he would lightning or not. It's not going to get any counter push from the phoenix. He's going to go in for a golden knight. He'll probably click the ability in like a couple seconds because I haven't really dropped anything nearby. Fortunately, the skeleton king with his vacuum cleaner is able to splash onto the bird and the golden knight there. So we know we're probably playing against an Electro Giant deck, which is the matchup I've been waiting for the entire day. If you guys hate E-Giant, you will love this deck. Skeleton King slapping the tower for a juicy connection, and watch, as if he lightnings the zappies, then what happens is the zappies all stay alive because the tower is going to get hit, and then he's just going to throw a fit because he's like, wait, I can't break through Barbarians, I can't break through zappies unless I use a Golden Knight. He doesn't have Golden Knight in cycle because the Skeleton King was just able to kill it. If he goes in for a Barbaril, that's simply not enough. He's going to go for archers as well. I'm not going to spend any extra elixir here. I'm just going to let that roll, and then I'm going to go in for like a giant afterward, and then we can keep the zappies alive a little bit longer, and then we'll go graveyard. So I wasn't really going to keep that alive until I was like, you know what? His archers are out of cycle. He probably doesn't have an answer to graveyard. He's going to have to tornado on defense. That's how bad it is for him. I could have soaked up all the souls with the Skeleton King, but I felt like it wasn't necessarily worth it. I want to be more unpredictable. I wanted to go in for the Golden Knight dash and waste his ability. That's so much better, making him waste an extra elixir. Playing with his feelings, he mentally felt like he should be able to get away with that. He's like, oh, he's not going to drop something. He doesn't have anything in hand. And last second, I patiently dropped my Skeleton King. He's like, wait, I just wasted one elixir and I feel like a fool. And now he doesn't end up having enough elixir for the Golden Knight immediately because he wasted elixir. He can't lightning through zappies, right? Like, no one does that. This is hilarious. We've got dual lane pressure, which I think is the best thing to do with this deck, because if you stack up too much stuff on one side, obviously he's going to go for a Barbaril and lightning and blast you. So don't want that to happen. In fact, I can go for a graveyard, and then I can go in for arrows. So in these type of matchups, if you guys are noticing the blueprint to success, go and split lane your stuff. Start up a Sparky push in the back, and when they Electro Giant into you, you use your Zappies and you use your Barbarians to assassinate that Electro Giant fast. And then their lightning never gives them value because they're not going to lightning on the barbs or the zappies, and they can't really lightning on top of the Sparky and the Giant because it's way too cost inefficient of a trade, not even killing the Sparky by itself. Similar to the #1 player in the world that went on a 9-game win streak in a row all the way to the #1 spot, we climbed up to top 8,000 in the world with a pretty dominant display. Like, subscribe for more daily videos, and have an amazing rest of your day.